Okay, so we are live. Welcome to the Inspirational Ambivert channel. My name is Brad, and this is the Let's Get Inspired live vlog. This is episode 10. The date is the 21st of June. It's a Saturday. It's just gone past 6:15, so we're heading into the evening. So yeah, this is a live vlog. It's going to be delivered in like a freestyling type of manner. I'll explain things in the most genuine way I possibly can. And what we're going to talk, the title for today's episode, is Men Break Two, but Nobody Sees It. So men break two, but nobody sees it. I do have my notes with me, by the way, just to be open and transparent. And then I'm just going to elaborate on some of those notes that I have in the best way I can. So let's get into it. So if you're a man who, I'm just referring to my notes quickly. If you're a man who's ever cried in silence, if you've ever had to get up and go to work with a broken heart, this is for you. So if you're struggling in life emotionally and mentally, or you're just feeling down, you feel like you're on your own, like there's no help whatsoever, this video is for you. Okay, let me just turn off the volume on my phone. So let's start to speak. So the pain we hide, the truth we never say. So the pain we hide, the truth we never say. So if you're a man who's ever cried in silence, if you've ever had to get up and go to work with a broken heart, this is for you. I've just said that. Sorry, I'm saying it again. Some men struggle, and I'm going to elaborate on why they struggle, how they struggle. I'm going to add some personal stories in there. And then I'm going to try and come up with some suggestions to help people come away from this, to help people make the best of life of these situations. I don't think men always get an easy ride. Our emotions, or we bury our emotions a lot of the time, and the consequences can be really bad, can't they? Sometimes some people I've known people that have committed suicide. One of my close friends committed suicide, and I know of another 3, let's say, acquaintances that have committed suicides. And all these men are these people are that I know of they've all committed suicide. Obviously, let's say 4 people that I know, they were all in their 30s, and they did bury their feelings, amongst other things. I'm not going to mention the names because I don't want to show disrespect at all. But this is what can happen on the extreme end of things, can't it? Men can just suffer through life. They never express themselves. They don't process their emotions properly or healthfully, and it can end up in death potentially. Or a lot of the time, it might not even end up as that, but they're just suffering, just unnecessary suffering. Really, it's difficult. But anyway, I'll get into it. So I'm going to start with a question, and then I'll elaborate on it. Again, sorry, I'm referring to my notes. Without the notes, it's for me personally. Some people might be able to do this straight off the cuff, but it's in a live fashion. But I like to have some notes with me, so I just want to give this live vlog a bit of structure, the best I can, and speak the best I can, as imperfect as that is, of course. So let's ask the question one moment. I'm just going to type this in. Sorry, this takes a few moments. Right, I've got the question. So the question is, when was the last time someone asked you, let's start again. When was the last time someone asked you how you were and actually meant it? I'll read it. I'll just say it out again. I'll read it out again, should I say. When was the last time that someone asked you how you were and actually meant it? Not everybody gets that, do they, in life? Some people don't. Some are invisible. They don't get asked. If a woman's upset, usually people will go to them and help them and put an arm around them, which is a good thing, of course. But I think that men sometimes they're just told to shut up and get on with it. Don't be a girl. Don't be a bitch. That kind of thinking. And sometimes you think you could be deemed to be weak when you do express your problems. I'm trying to answer that question as well. Sorry, I personally am very lucky. I've got a lovely partner, and she does ask me. And I think she genuinely does. She does ask me if I'm okay. She checks up on me a lot. I'm very lucky to have that person in my life. So I do get that, and I do get that. But a lot of men don't. A lot of people don't, and it must be difficult. But if anyone wants to comment on that, please do, and I'll respond and answer the best I can. I'll leave that question there. Okay. So let's get into it. So number one is there's a pressure to be okay, isn't there, as a man? There's always that pressure to be okay. Everything's fine. Nothing's a problem. So in relation to that, there's like a social pressure, isn't there? A man has to be strong all the time. Has to be strong. You can't be weak. You're not allowed to cry. You're not allowed to. If you cry, you just seem to be. Imagine if you cry, whatever. You're expressing your emotions. It's like, don't be a bitch. Don't be a girl, like I was saying before. And I think society expects that of men as well. Like, shut up and get on with it, kind of thinking. I think there's a social pressure with regards to that. So I don't know what else to say about that, if I'm honest. Trying to elaborate on that a little bit. The pressure to be just that unwritten rule in society, isn't there? That you just got to get on with it and shut up and get on with it. That's all I've got to say about that. So moving on. So how men aren't asked about how they feel. How do you feel? No, most people aren't ask you that ever. Let me think about my dad as well. Every time, like, he'd be okay all the time. He'd always say he was okay all the time. Nothing seemed to bother him. And on that note, I'm going to tell a little story, actually. I'm going to tell a story. So basically, I used to have a friend. I'm not going to mention his name. He was a close friend. He was a really good person. He is a good person. Really good. He was a good person, should I say. He's not with us anymore, sadly. Really good person. He'd walk into the room. He was a joker. He'd walk into the room and he'd just light up the room. Everybody liked him. He was really likable. He was like a lovable rogue type of person. He'd light up the room. He'd be making everybody laugh. He'd be playing jokes. He's just a good, fun person to be around, let's say. He lit up the room, literally, honestly, lit up the room. Very magnetic type of personality. That's what I remember this person as. And nothing seemed to bother him. He always seemed to land on his feet. And he lived, let's say, he lived a life. I couldn't live the way he did. He used to, obviously I used to an extent when I was younger. So this person used to obviously like to take party drugs, like to go out at the weekend, like to sesh. Like sesh meaning drinking, drugs, etc. And that was his downfall, really, I suppose. But again, like I said, he never expressed his emotions. Nothing seemed to bother him. And you think he was okay. And this person that I'm talking about, sorry, it sounds really depressing. He ended up, this is one of my old close friends. He committed suicide. He hung himself. And he didn't. Did people asking me how he felt? I didn't ask him how he felt, how he is. And yeah, he took his own life, which is really sad, man, really sad. And like I've said before, I knew of another 3 people, all men in the 30s, people I used to work with, acquaintances. These are the three people who were more of acquaintances. They all took their own lives as well, which is sad. And I think a lot of it comes from, not always, but a lot of it comes from just not, they don't feel like they can speak. They bury everything deep down. They pretend they pretend that the problems aren't there. They put on a mask, don't they? Put on a mask, everything's okay, and inside it's not. And if it's not dealt with, if it's not dealt with, it's not going to. Sorry, trying to think. If it's not dealt with it properly, it's not gonna end well, is it? It's not going to end well. And this is why I think it's important for men, within reason. I don't mean cry all day long, like you're emotional wreck all the time. I think that's another extreme, and most people might need different help. But I'm just saying it's good for men. I think it's good for us to talk about things, to express things, to have the confidence, and do ask people how they feel. Sometimes a person who's smiling all the time is the one that's depressed. I think Chester Bennington, the singer, if you've seen the video for him, he was smiling, wasn't he? Before he committed suicide, he was like really happy. And then a few hours later, he took his own life. Sorry, it sounds really depressing, but I'll move on. So people aren't really asking people how they feel. No men are getting asked how they feel. So I'm going to move on to. I'm just referring to my notes again, sorry. So it says, speak to the emotional mask that most men wear. So yeah, do we all wear masks? I suppose we all do. The world, what did Shakespeare say? The world is full of actors. Yes, it is. I like that saying, the world is full of actors. And I suppose we put our game face on, don't we? Especially as men, you don't want to look weak. You don't look like a girl. You don't want to look like a bitch. You just don't. Your ego won't allow it. I'm like that sometimes as well. I get it wrong sometimes. So you just bury those emotions deep down, push them down. I've done it. I probably still do it a bit now sometimes. I'm not perfect, of course. I'm putting that mask on, like my friend that was on about, he was the life and soul of the party. He was good, he was fun, he was making everybody laugh, he seemed happy, he always seemed to land on his feet all the time. But I suppose to an extent, it was a mask, it was a persona. It was making everyone laugh, but deep down, he was unhappy. There's probably a lot of issues. I think childhood issues must have contributed to that upbringing. I think sorry, I'm going on about him a bit now, but his dad was in the army, and they used to move, and obviously with soldiers, let's say, they move around a lot, so they get posted in different places. And he moved around a lot as a kid. So as a kid, he'd go to a school, he'd maybe get to start to know people, and then he'd go to another school, and then he'd go to another school. I think that contributed to his unhappiness maybe. And I think his relationship with his mum and dad wasn't the best, let's say. Maybe a lack of care and love maybe there. I'm not 100% sure of the reasons why he took his own life, but I think that might have contributed to it. Forgive me if I'm wrong with that, by the way. I'm not mentioning that person's name because I'm never going to do that. But I think that there were a lot of issues, emotions, and he just put the mask on all the time. Not all the time, maybe, but a lot of the time. And it caught up with him when he was 37. Caught up when he was 37 eventually. So yeah, that pressure to be okay as a man is there, isn't it? It's just there. So I've got a quote. Moving on, I've got a quote. So we're praised for not breaking and punished when we do. So we're praised for not breaking and punished when we do. It's like you're the rock. Imagine you're the rock of the family. You're always the guy that sorts everything out. You're always the guy that stays calm amongst the storm, which is great traits, of course, man. I try to be that person as much as I can. When shit hits the fan, I'm thinking of solutions if I can try and solve those problems. And I believe that's great, man. You should be praised for that. And always, that's great, man. I think you should, as a man, as a strong man, as a good person, I think it's great to have those traits. However, we're not robots. We're not robots. And as good as it is to have that stoic mindset, applying that stoicism, that philosophy of stoicism, that being a strong person, etc. I believe that in relation to the quote, that's all good and well. You're praised for not breaking under that pressure, but being punished when you do. So as soon as you started to cry, upset or anything. You're just like, oh, he's weak. Look at that. He's crying. Shut up. Stop crying. What you on about? Don't be a bitch. That kind of thinking. And then you snap out of it and then you get back on with it. But deep down, you've got all those issues. You don't feel... Some people, I suppose, you feel like you can't say anything. You don't want to say anything. You don't want to appear weak. You don't want to upset anyone. So that's that. So we're going to move on to number 2 now. So what breaking looks like in men. What does it look like? How's it going to... I suppose, how's it going to... What behaviours and things are you going to see in a man that he look... When a man starts to break down, these are some of the signs. These aren't going to be all of the signs, by the way. And also, please bear in mind, I'm just giving my perspective. I am not an expert at these things. I've experience, of course. I've suffered myself. I've gone through trials and tribulations of life. I used to take drugs at the weekend, etc. I've had insecurity issues. I've grown through them, and now I'm a nurse, so I'm doing well in life. But I have gone through some shit, so I do have knowledge, I do have experience, but not everyone's going to agree with what I say, which is absolutely fine. It's just my perspective, and I hope that this perspective can help people. That's my intention, by the way, just to veer off a little bit. But am I a psychologist? Do I ever do in psychology or anything like that? Am I a psychotherapist? No, I'm not any of those things. I'm just a man a 42-year-old man trying to give an honest perspective and try to help people. That's my intention, and I believe that I can. Anyway, so what does breaking look like in men? So bottled up anger. You could be seething underside. Sometimes it can spill out as well. Imagine some people go to football matches, or let's say soccer matches, either in America or sporting events, and you'll see some guys that get really into it, don't they? They're really passionate about their sporting team, let's say. And sometimes that passion spills out and they're angry and they rant, or they do in England anyway, especially at football matches. They'll be shouting at the players, swearing, cursing, saying all sorts of things. I think that's sometimes, not always, but sometimes that's just a man just letting it all out. He's letting it all out over a football match, which might sound crazy, but yeah. But what also can that bottled up anger means? It's just bottled up, isn't it? It's seething out. So the man might get, let's say, really upset about small thing, like he can't find his pen or whatever, something really small. That's a sign of bottled up anger, isn't it? And he's just really angry because you've took his favourite pen, or his pen's gone, and he's shouting and cursing, he's throwing things across the room. This is being extreme. That's bottled up anger. Or sometimes what some men do, some people do, what they'll do is, I'll see somebody who's kind, and I'm not saying I do this, but some people will, because they've got bottled up anger, they'll take it out on somebody else. They'll start calling them names and start picking on them, which is not nice. It's not fair, but that's what some people will do when they've got bottled up anger. They're not dealt with their issues, so it's just spilling out. So they're venomous. They're spitting curse words out, etc. So that's what can occur when some people, what breaking can look like in some men. So moving on now, withdrawal. So some men, because they're breaking down, they're not happy, they'll start to withdraw from everything. They become I suppose more like hermits kind of thing, thinking like just they will stop going to activities, they won't do anything, they'll stay in all day, they'll withdraw emotionally as well. They'll be vacant, completely vacant, like an apathetic kind of demeanor, let's say. They'll withdraw from activities that they might used to do. They might be into sports or the gym or whatever it is. They'll withdraw emotionally, which I've just said. They won't want to. They just look vacant in their eyes, in their look. They just won't have any more emotional expression. They'll just be cold, just nothingness there, no emotion, no nothing. Withdrawn from life, like they've given up. That's how I think. What I think can happen. Anyway, another version of what breaking down can look like in men is overworking. So to avoid, I think, overworking and maybe even over drinking. That's another way to another sign that someone's breaking down, isn't it? So let's go with overworking. So why would you overwork? It's to avoid yourself, isn't it? I'm going to carry on working. I've got to stay busy. How many people are like this in society? Oh my God, there's so many. Maybe I am sometimes. I work quite a lot. But I like to express my emotions, if I'm honest. I like to be open and honest. But overworking, just working all the time, non-stop. And that can even be the gym sometimes. The gym's healthy, don't get me wrong, physically. It's really good. But some people just have got to be busy all the time. They're overworking. They're not stopping. Why? And sometimes it's because they want to avoid those inner issues, those inner demons, Pandora's box. So I'm going to just, I have to avoid it. I have to stay busy. I've got to, even sometimes it could just be socializing or sporting events, because sporting events are entertainment, aren't they? Which is good. I think they're a good thing. Or even music events. These are good things. They're positive things. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. They are positive things. Absolutely. But what some people do is they just do it to avoid their own emotions. They do it to avoid themselves. So they'll just keep being busy all the time, overworking. And then obviously that can spill over to a lot of what do people do as well. Again, people drink, they take drugs. That's what my friend did a lot of. He didn't stop. He didn't stop taking drugs. He didn't stop drinking. He carried on. Again, I think it's just trying to mask that pain, isn't it? I'm not saying that drink can always be a bad thing. Alcohol can be a good thing as well. Of course, it can be a good thing done in moderation, like with a lot of things, really. But I think people that's related also to numbness, isn't it? I just want to numb my mind. I remember when I was younger, in my 20s, this is a long time ago, by the way, at the weekend I'd take drugs recreationally, nothing too heavy, but ecstasy, amphetamines, ketamine. Not healthy, so please do not do those things. But I was numb. It numb my mind. I'd be numb. I remember just having, I used to call it empty head. And what's empty head? Empty head's when you just don't, I think you take drugs and then you just don't think. It's weird. Like you've got the thought process, but it's almost like it's switched off, like it's numb. You're numb. It feels like you're numb. That's what people do. They numb down their senses, don't they? They numb themselves with all these distractions, or drugs, or alcohol. Alcohol's a drug, I suppose, as well. And that's what breaking down could look like in men. If you know to look for it, you can see it. So we're going to move on. Next is another quote. I've got another quote which I've written down. I'm going to refer to my notes. If anyone's got any questions or comments, this is a live vlog as well. Please remember that. It's delivered in a freestyling type of manner. I'm doing my best to deliver it the best way I can. If you watch this video after it's been live, if you feel free to add any comments, and I will answer them the best I can. And obviously, just to remind you all, this is about men break too, but nobody sees it. That's the title. So I've got a quote which I'm going to refer to. So the quote says, "We don't always cry. Sometimes we shut down, and nobody notices until we explode or disappear." So I'm going to read the quote again, and then I'm going to reflect on it. So this is it. We don't always cry. Sometimes we shut down, and nobody notices until we explode or disappear. Sorry, I'm sweating today. It's a little bit warm. A sip of water. Sorry. So men, we don't always cry. The only time honest to God, the only time I cry is, and people, I've done it at work. It's because I'm so effing angry. If I get really angry, right, I can't punch anybody. Of course I can't at work. but I'll feel like it. Trust me, I'll feel like it. And also, if I'm at work, I can say some nasty things. I've got a sharp tongue. I keep it. I try to control my tongue because it can be I can be brutal. Trust me, I'll go right for the jugular. If I allow it, I can just go crazy, which is not a good thing. That's my dark side, I suppose. And if I don't, number one, I can't punch anyone. Number two, I can't really say what I truly think about people, especially when I'm at work, because I'd love to, but I can't. If I'm honest, I'd love to, but I can't. And then what happens is I'm told basically I'm really bloody angry. I am seething, but I can't do those first two things. Obviously, it's not socially acceptable for understandable reasons. So that's what I do. The emotions need to go somewhere with me. So I start to cry. And that's because I'm holding it in. And I cry, and that's how I release it. And some people will think, oh, he's crying, he's an emotional person, he's weak. It's like, no, I'm stopping myself from actually hitting you in the face. I'm actually stopping myself from saying something so nasty. I'm stopping myself. And that anger and emotion comes out in tears with me. But some people can misinterpret that as me being weak. But it's not. It's actually me being strong, in my opinion. I'm stopping myself from saying something bad. I'm stopping myself from causing someone else physical harm. And then I start to cry. It's tears of anger, really, isn't it? But going back to the quote, sorry, went off on a tangent just then. We don't always cry. Sometimes we just shut down, like, you stop speaking. Just stop speaking. Go quiet. Shut down emotionally. Walls are down. Put the walls up. Boom, boom, boom. Nothing's getting in, nothing's getting out then, though, is it? Nothing's getting in. I've got the walls up. I'm protecting myself, I suppose. But what can happen, no one will notice until we explode or disappear. So what's that disappearing? What could disappearing be? Someone could take their own life. This is why I like to talk about these things, to try and bring some awareness to those that are receptive to what I'm saying. To try to bring some awareness. Everything starts with a conversation, and try to find some understanding and growth from what I'm saying. And what some people could do is, some men just explode, don't they, as well? And they can do horrendous things. Imagine a man who's been beaten with a stick, let's say, for a long, long time, and he's bottled it up and he hasn't done anything. He's a calm person, but he's getting shit all the time, verbally. Whatever that is, that can come from partners, that can come from family, that can come from work, that can come from life. And then you just hold it all together, and then eventually they explode. And sometimes they do horrific things. People can kill people, can't they? Potentially, they can explode. And then we've just noticed after the fact. A lot of men, that violence, let's say, that anger can turn to violence, can't it? Some people will take it out on others. They'll beat people up, which is horrendous. It's wrong, of course. But what a lot of people do, they'll take the anger out on themselves. So imagine, going back to the suicide thing, but it's related to this. Committing suicide is a very extreme, violent act on yourself, isn't it? So that's what I'm getting from that quote. And then people will notice, oh, yeah, he was upset. He's done that. It's like it's too late. That's too late. You're done. You don't want to get to that point. You do not want to get to that point. So that moves me on to another question. I'm going to ask, what does breaking look like for you? So what does, I'm just typing this in the chat, one moment, breaking look like for you? What does breaking look like for you? I've said that 3 times now. Doesn't matter. What does it look like for me? Let's answer that the best I can. I think I've already kind of explained it. I think I can kind of see when someone's losing it a little bit. They're a bit scatty. They're a bit on edge, let's say. When someone's on edge all the time, I think, oh, there's something wrong there. They hear or see slights that don't exist. So they hear or see slights that don't exist. So someone could go how are you doing today? Are you okay? And then they'll go, what do you mean I'm okay? I'm always okay. I'm always okay. But that kind of reaction, like someone's just asked you if you're all right. That's all they've asked you. And then they get really defensive, snappy. Sorry, I'm trying to give an example. Really bitey like that. I think there's something wrong there. They're on edge. If it's like it's all built up, it's too much. But because they can't express those emotions, it's all there. But they don't. They pretend nothing's wrong. They go, "No, I'm fine. Everything's good. And then they'll storm out of the room. It's like, what the F was? And everyone in the room's thinking, what the F is all that about? What's wrong with that guy? And then maybe some people will probably laugh as well. That sounds harsh. Ha, what a muppet. What's up with him? Sort your shit out. That kind of response can happen as well, which is not helpful at all. That person needs help. Obviously, that person doesn't know how to express their emotions, and then it just spills out in different ways. I think, as I've said before, some people can do horrendous things like attack. Imagine this is horrendous, but some men, what will they do? They've got so many issues, so much trauma. They'll attack an old lady, or they'll have a bad relationship with women. Maybe their mum, they've got mummy issues or daddy issues, mummy issues. Let's go with that. And they've had a really bad upbringing, which must be horrendous, let's say, but it's never been dealt with. So they have a bad relationship with women. They're just angry, but they can't know how to deal with it. So what can happen in later life? These people can do horrendous things to women, can't they? Murder, etc. Like things like that. It's horrible. Sorry, but that's what can happen as well. That's an extreme version of someone breaking. But a lot of the time, it's a lot more subtle. A lot of people don't go to these extremes, do they? A lot of the time, it's a lot more subtle when someone breaks down, when men are breaking down. And a lot of the time, it can look very, like I say, really subtle. Sometimes they just seem a bit on edge, I think. Or sometimes another one is, let me think. Some people, what they do, they'll pick on other people. Some men will just pick on, bully other people. And it's just a sign of insecurity. They're just projecting onto others, aren't they? Which is cowardly, in my opinion. It's not good. I'm not saying this is a good thing to do, but it's just an example of someone who's breaking down, isn't it? Or another one, I used to go to rugby matches, Wigan Warriors, and I used to go with, let's say, an acquaintance, stroke acquaintance, not a friend. But anyway, he got so angry at the referee. He used to get really angry, and which I get, a little bit of passion's a good thing in a sporting event. You're getting into it. You're caring about the team. It adds to the experience. But he gets so angry, and he'd go on and on and on about how that referee was a bad person, and he'd be swearing at the referee, shouting at the referee, shouting the injustice of the decisions that the referee made. But he'd go on and on about it. But it's like extreme. And I remember saying to him, "What? Shut up, basically. It's done. Get on with it." And then he started shouting at me. He was really angry at me. I said, just get on with it. It's fine. It's only a match. It's only a game. Shut up, basically. I tried to calm him down a little bit. He was going on and on and on. And then what did he do? He started having a go at me. Started shouting at me. So what do you want I did? So yeah, he was breaking down. And yeah, I don't think I did the right thing here, actually. Just the stories just come up now. I just didn't know what to do. So I thought, this guy's just said he's going to beat me up. He said he's going to beat me up. I thought, you're a dick. And I walked away. I was angry. I was upset. I walked away. But was he breaking down? Yeah, he was. I walked away. That's what I did. I walked away, and I never saw that person again. I was younger then, sorry. In hindsight, which is a lovely thing, I could have maybe been a bit more compassionate there and asked him if he's okay. And I didn't. Sorry, I've just had a memory there and shared it with you all. And I didn't. Maybe I failed there. Maybe I could learn from that. But yeah, that's what it can look like. That's what breaking down can look like. I think a lot of the times with men, it spills out into things. A lot of the times with men, in my opinion, correct me if I'm wrong. Comment if you don't agree. That's absolutely fine. But I think it spills out with just getting mad at silly things. Yeah. So that's that. That's my take on what does breaking down look like for you. So I'm going to move on. So number 3, why men hide their pain. So why do men hide their pain? A lot of it is because, I'm just referring to my notes, just to be honest. So it's fear of shame or judgment. So fear of shame or judgment. You don't want to be, again, I've said it like, you don't, as a man, you don't want to be seen to be weak. You need to be strong. You need to be alpha, let's say, or whatever it is. And there's nothing wrong with being strong, or I don't believe in that alpha beta thing, by the way. That's another topic. I don't believe in that shit. That's based on wolf packs in the 1950s, but another topic. I'm not going to go on about that now. But you feel ashamed, like, just like, oh, look at that guy. He's weak. He's just breaking down. He's soft bastard. That kind of thing. I don't want to be seen to eat. Oh, he's a right little girl. He's a gay or whatever, that kind of thing. Nothing wrong with gays, by the way. I'm just saying that's you don't want to be seen to be weak, man, as a man. And that's a good thing. Not being seen to be weak, but and also the shame of like having a mental illness maybe, or having the mental issues, just the feeling of shame, like you failed as a man, failed as a person, failed because a man wants to protect, doesn't he? He wants to provide and he wants to protect, and he doesn't want to feel the shame of being judged for having those emotions. Men are scared of it. I think it's getting better now, but it's still there. So I'm going to move on. So why men hide their pain? Another point is, I think I've already just said it, being seen to be weak. Being seen to be bloody weak. So expressing emotions could be seen to be weak. Oh, what you on about? Men don't do that. A lot of the time as well, what it can look like is just people laugh it off, don't they? You'll say something, oh, this has upset me, and you're the group that you're in, especially if you're drinking, if you're out in a pub or something, you might be going, I'm really upset about my ex or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. And then the lads that are with you, because they're all jokey, let's say, which is a good thing as well sometimes, but sometimes it can be brushed off as a joke as well. But also another thing is, a lot of them just don't want to be seen to weak, so they can't express their emotions. They're too scared of that, like deep down scared, even though they could be the biggest, most macho person in the world. They just don't want to be seen to be weak, so they won't express their emotions. Nothing bothers them, etc., etc. So that's another point. So moving on, they don't want to burden others. I feel like this sometimes, definitely. Especially if you have genuine care and empathy for people, and you're thinking, life's hard, they're going through a lot of shit. I don't want to burden them with my problems. I don't want to bring everyone down. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I don't want to do that. I don't want to burden others. I don't want to share it with them because I don't want to upset them. I don't want to bring the vibe down. You might be around, I don't know, but if you're at a party or whatever it is, or you're out with friends, or I don't know, you just don't want to bring people down with your problems. But I also think it's still important to do so sometimes. But you've got to find the right people. But I'll get onto that later. But I do get that you don't want to burden other people with your shit. But doing too much of that, I think can be a bad thing, because again, you're holding on to all those emotions, you're holding on to those issues, and like I say this quite a lot, it's a problem shared, it's a problem halved, isn't it? Problem shared is a problem halved. But I get that you don't want to burden. Some people don't want to burden others. So moving on, I'm just referring to my notes again. Sorry. How to heal without shame. No. I'm moving on to step number 4. Point number 4, how to heal without shame. So now we're thinking about solutions. These aren't going to be all the solutions. Not one size fits all, by the way, of course. But these are potential solutions. So having at least one outlet, journaling, or being honest with friends. This could be an outlet for me right now. I'm talking about these things. It's bringing it to my own awareness. And with this vlog, as we speak, I've got 50 subscribers. I've got zero, fucking zero. It doesn't matter. But I've got zero people watching. Literally, this live vlog, I've got zero people watching. At some point, though, there's going to be hundreds and thousands of people watching. But as we speak, I've got zero. But do you know what? I'm here. I'm turning up. I'm explaining things, and it's bringing it to my own attention as well, my own awareness, which is a good thing. So that could be a form of it. This is a vlog, isn't it? It's like it's my thoughts and feelings coming out, basically, in a video format. But journaling could be old school writing down problems. Honest friends as well, good friends. If you've got good friends, you're winning. It could be if you've got a great partner, you're winning. And you say, can we just pull them to one side when they're rested, of course, and say, look, I need to speak to you, find a nice environment, have a nice conversation with them, tell them what bothers you, tell them what upsets you, and then you can work it out with that person. I think that can really help. Obviously, if you get good friends as well, that can help. But not everyone has that. But the downside is if you've got bad friends or toxic friends, for example, and sharing your problems with those people can be really sharing your problems with the wrong people. They'll just use it against you, won't they? They won't care about you. They'll make a joke out of it at your expense, or they'll use it against you, or they'll spread gossip about you for having your issues. These are toxic people, of course. You've got to have good, honest friends that will actually genuinely care for you. So I think the problem, let me critique that a little bit. Not everyone is gonna have honest friends. Not everyone's gonna have. Some people will just be on their own. They might not have family to turn to, or again, you can turn to your family, by the way, but you've got to have a good, understanding family to be able to truly listen to you. Not everyone's going to have that. So what happens then? What do you do then? Journaling can help. This isn't one size fits all, of course. I think sometimes if you look in the right places, there's communities online. There's communities in your local area, in your local community, related to mental health, things like that. You can go on the internet and find things like that. Also, I think there's also, if you're looking for solutions, basically, we're in the age of information, which is great if you use it correctly. There's going to be groups that can help you online, communities, etc. So I'll move on. So next is therapy isn't weakness, it's strategy. So therapy as well is another way of doing it. Oh, but another one with that is it's quite expensive, isn't it? It's like in England, it's about £40 or £50 for one session. And therapy isn't weakness, it's strategy, which is just what I've written down. No, it's not weakness. It's not therapy. And another thing is not easy, because you're bringing out all those emotions, you're bringing out all those painful things inside. But you shouldn't see it as weakness. It's actually a strength. Have emotional awareness, emotional intelligence is a real strength, and you can develop that through therapy potentially. I think another one is books as well. If you get the right books, reading, etc. So there are potential solutions, by the way, or go on YouTube, and there could be content creators like myself. Some people might even be better than I am, let's be fair, and you start listening to what they have to say and engage in the conversations online. And if you want to do it, that's like a much more anonymous way to do it as well, isn't it? Because these people online don't know you personally, and you can actually share your problems on there. Feel free to. I think that's a really good way. And that's the beginnings, isn't it? Everything starts with a conversation. And again, I keep saying, problem shared is a problem halved. So you could find a video that you find relatable in relation to men expressing their emotions, etc. And then just start to chat on there. A lot of people do that. And I think that's opening up a dialogue, and then people will share their experiences with you as well. So you feel like you're not on your own. You're not on your own. Even if you've got no friends, you've got no good friends, let's say. You've got your family you can't trust. You've not got a partner, or you've not got a healthy partner. A lot of people are on their own. But there is people, if you go in the right places, right YouTube content creators, the list goes on. And if you start just write your problems down on there sometimes, if you're in the right, find the right group, of course, and people, you can start conversations there. And you don't have to expose yourself completely, do you? Because no one's going to know you. You don't even have to have your face on there, do you? Just typing things down. I think that's a really good, safe way and a practical, realistic way to express your emotions as a man without truly feeling like you're exposing yourself as much. That's the beauty of the internet, potentially, as long as you go down the right avenues. Because obviously there's trolls out there as well, but there's negative people out there. Of course there is. Some unhappy bastards out there. Trust me, there is. And they just spew negativity, and they hide keyboard warriors, and they'll hide behind the keyboard because they're cowards. But that's another topic. But you can share your problems online, man. And if anyone's even listening to this, and you've got any problems, honest to God, if you've got any problems or whatever, I'll hear you out. Write it down, comment, and honest to God, I'll get back to you and I'll answer the best I can. And if I don't know the answer to something, I'll do my best to steer you in the right direction. Oh, can you hear that? Thunderstorms, by the way. It's really, really hot here. Changing subjects, really hot here. Well, it is for England. 28 degrees for England, very hot. I'm not used to it, if I'm honest. I'm going to turn that light down a little bit. That's a little bit better. A little bit more. That's better, isn't it? Yeah, you hear the thunderstorm, so it's going to rain. So it's very humid at the moment. Not that that's related to this vlog, but anyway. So we're going to move on. Sip of water again. I'm going to ask another question. I'm sorry if you can hear the rain in the background. It's raining, but we need to clear the air. So the next question is, well, and it's thundering and lightning as well, which is interesting. Can you hear? Cool. Wow, it's really raining outside. Mad. Have you... Sorry, one moment. Have you ever I'll be with you in a moment. Sorry, guys. I'm just writing a question down. And I'm also listening to that thunderstorm in the background, which is interesting. Wow. Cool. So, have you ever broken down when no one was watching? Have you ever broken down when no one was watching? Yes, I have. I'll tell you this stuff. God, I'm going to share something with you now. So, I remember years ago, I was in my 20s. I went to Ibiza for a week on holiday. So what did that mean? I was drinking. I was young. I was about 23, I think I was. I was drinking all week. I was seshing. I was taking drugs, obviously, going to the clubs, being a young person, being an idiot. But I wasn't happy in myself. And I didn't love myself. I was disrespected a lot as well. I was bullied at the time by my friends. I attracted that, though, if I'm honest. But I wasn't leading a happy or good life. I was insecure. I didn't know myself. I was young. I was underdeveloped. I was lost. I was taking drugs. I was drinking. I was not healthy. I was not in a good place. I didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't have any knowledge whatsoever. This is before I started to read a lot of self-help books. I still do now, by the way, which helps me to. I've got quite a lot of knowledge with regards to self-help books, and that's why I'm passionate about this, by the way. But anyway, back then I didn't know F all, mate. I knew F all. And that week I'd been to Ibiza, so I was burnt out. I was tired, and then I got back to England. and I've been away for a week, so I've been drinking, not sleeping well, not eating well, taking drugs, drinking for a full week. So I was absolutely worn out. And then I got back in England, and then I went straight out again. I went drinking and whatever. And then what happened? This is one of my, I think it was rock bottom, really, one of my rock bottoms. And I remember falling asleep in a pub because my friend's mum used to own a pub, and I fell asleep. And then, quite funny, but and then back then I was asleep, knocked out. I got my eyebrows shaved, so I had no eyebrows. Imagine, I used to have hair, by the way, back then, like down to here, believe it or not. But anyway, I got my eyebrows shaved, so I looked like a dick, looked like a right dick. So I went home, and then the next day, obviously, imagine if you've been out all week, you've been drinking all week. You're coming down then. You're coming down because you've been hammering it all week. I had no eyebrows. Oh, I was so angry and I felt so bad. And I just remember breaking down, crying in the bathroom, crying, so angry, so upset. Oh, I felt horrible. And then that day as well. So this is after a full week of drinking, full drinking session. I got sacked as well from my job. Oh no! And guess what? It was in the middle of July. It was hot like it is now, and I had a meeting. With the bosses, and I had a woolly hat on, which you use for winter, of course, because I wanted to cover my eyebrows up. I remember sweating, and they were telling me why they were sacking me. And then I lost my job all then the same day. And I thought, oh my God, what am I doing with my life? So I broke down, mate. I broke down. So imagine that. You've lost your job. You've no eyebrows. You look like a freak. You're living an unhealthy life. People were disrespecting me as well. I was allowing people to disrespect me. That's on me, that. I hated myself. I didn't know what to do with myself. I was frustrated. Sorry about the thunder in the background, but there we go. Yeah. So that was me. I broke down, man. I wasn't happy, but I needed to break to grow again. I needed to hit rock. That was kind of my rock bottom. That was I think that was a very noticeable rock bottom. I remember being so upset because I wanted to change everything, but I didn't know how. But it was the beginning. That was the beginning for me, personally, because I was like 23, 24. And it still took me a few years to get out of that like lifestyle. Didn't happen overnight. It took years, man. Years of like soul searching, years of thinking things through, years of learning, figuring it all out. It takes time, mate. It's not easy. That's why I believe that I have some knowledge to discuss these kind of things. So that's what breaking down when no one was watching. Because when I was in the bathroom, I was just brought down in tears, mate. I was fucking well upset. Really upset. Really hated myself. Really just looked like a freak. With no eyebrows. But the eyebrows weren't really the main thing. It was just because of the lifestyle, man. It wasn't good. Yeah, so that's that. So I'm going to move on to another question, which I'm going to ask on here as well. So what kept... Sorry, I'll say it out loud in a moment. I'm just adding on this onto the live chat. So what kept you going? Sorry, going, not done. What kept you going even when you felt done? What kept me going? I think it's like a determination to let's go with the rock bottom thing kind of story. What kept me going even felt well done when it was I just felt like I can't give up. I knew I could do well. I didn't know what to do. I was very determined. I wanted to prove people wrong. I suppose that's my ego kicking in there a little bit. Just turn these lights up a tiny bit of light. Yeah, that kept me going. That inner strength, let's say. I think what helped me as well was reading. Reading just helped me, man, big time. Reading. reading psychology books, reading self-help books, that kind of thing. The Disease to Please was a book that I read that really helped. There were so many. Awaken the Giant Within by Anthony Robbins was a big one. I remember reading that. It took me ages to read it because I was really slow reading at the time. It took me a long time. And I used to God, I was so insecure. I used to hide the book so no one would see me reading it because I think people were going to judge me for reading a self-help book, which is, again, this is in relation to how men can feel. They don't want to seem weak. It's not weak, it's strength, reading them kind of things. But at the time, I thought I was insecure. So I thought, oh, shit, people are going to judge me. I'm reading a self-help book. They're going to think I'm weak and they're going to think I'm weird. But that's silly. That's really silly. But that's what I used to think. God, I was insecure then. But it kept me going. It gave me knowledge, gives you knowledge about who you are. It also helps you to understand others and other people's motives. And I think reading can be a great thing. That's what kept me going. And also had the will and desire to do well. I've always had that and still do now. That kept me going. And that's where you find your inner strength, etc. But it takes a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to get through things sometimes. And everyone's story is different, isn't it? So some people get a really tough life early on. They go through horrendous things. And also, one size doesn't always fit all, does it? Not everything that I say, some people go, that's silly, that's not going to work for me, which is absolutely fine. So not one size fits all, and everything's not done in a day. And I don't think we ever get everything perfect, because I think everyone has insecurities, but we should try and work on them the best we can. So if anyone's got any questions, then do ask them if you want. I'll answer them the best I can, like I've already said. If you're not watching this video live, if you ever do watch this video, then please comment, send a like. Subscribe if you can. If you've another thing, so if you've broken and survived, you're not weak. This is just another quote, by the way. So if you've broken, if you're broken and survived, you're not weak, you're not broken, you're human. You're healing. Keep going. So I'll read it again. If you're broken and survived, you're not weak. You're not broken. You're human. You're healing. Keep going. So we're not perfect, mate. None of us are. Stuff pisses us off. People break down, don't they? It's all life. This whole life thing's not easy, man. Just isn't. But just remember that you're not, just because you've broken down, just if you've made a mistake or you've got really overly emotional or you feel like you've effed up, just please try and remember, I've got to remind myself with this as well, you're not broken. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. You're human. You're going to fuck up, mate. Trust me. I'm going to mess up. I'm not going to do things perfectly. And sometimes it's painful. I look back and think, oh, I wish I'd have said that. Or I wish I didn't say that. Or I wish I'd have done this. Or I wish I'd have done that. Or whatever. Oh, I could have done. Oh, look at that. Look at that mistake I made. That's a stupid mistake. It's normal, human mistakes. You don't make mistakes. The mistakes make you. If you use it correctly, if you learn from those mistakes, it's all good, man. It's all part of growing. And just and healing as well, isn't it? I suppose. But just please remember, just keep going, man. And I know life's hard. And if you're suffering or you're going through any hardships or whatever, and if you want to, just comment on my videos or look at my Inspirational Ambivert channel. There's stuff on there that can help you potentially. And if you want to send me a message, just write. If you want to leave a comment, please do, and I will answer the best I can. So subscribe. If this hit home, then subscribe and share with a brother who needs to hear it. So subscribe if this hit home and share this with a brother who needs to hear it. So if you know anybody that's struggling or suffering at all, and you think that this might help them, then share it. They might not watch it, but if they do, it could help. So every little helps, as they say. So anyway, that's it for today. I'll be obviously, if this has resonated with anybody, just if you can subscribe. I'll be creating more videos like this in the future. I'm just going to keep going. Related to a lot of my stuff's going to be related to men and developing as a man mentally and spiritually, etc. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help people basically the best I can. But anyway, if you've watched this, thank you for your time. Look after each other. Keep going. So thank you and goodbye. That's it for today.